Oddly enough, I got a call that tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I'm going to be briefed over the phone by, I think one of Headseth's top dogs is going to go over some stuff with me that they've got, and I have no earthly idea. I don't want everybody to get their hopes up. I don't have a lot of faith in our government. President Trump's always been great to me. He's never lied to me, but I don't know that he knows the right questions to ask and the right people to talk to because, I mean, this thing's been covered up at least since 1947, and I just don't think they're going to – they don't give up that easy. The war pimps at the Pentagon and everybody else, they just don't give up that easy.
How did you come to understand all this stuff? Like, what was your understanding of it before you got into government?
I had pretty cool parents. Right now they would Daddy was an old World War II Marine, and Mama flew an airplane during the Second World War. I mean, they were they were badasses. They were good Christian people, but my daddy was a stone cold killer. I mean, he was the real deal. He was on Peleliu and Okinawa in the Marine Corps, and of course, Mama's oldest brother Roy got killed fighting the Nazis, and Mama did her part. Just a little country girl, didn't have electricity till she's a senior in high school. So I've kind of lived the American dream, but they would let me, they'd let me get bloodied up, and then they would patch me up and let me go. I could ride my bike to the library, or the library if you're from East Tennessee, and it was, about a mile from the house, and they'd go in there and they'd have these books set up, and they had all this stuff on, all this wild stuff, and there was a book on UFOs, and I just picked it up and started reading it. I probably wasn't, 7 or 8 years old, and I just always followed it. The magazine articles, and I'd go out at night and hope to see a UFO. Never did, never have, until some of the briefings I've been in. But and then I'm walking down the street, and can I mention another news source? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I was walking down the street, and TMZ there was a guy there, this black fella, his name's Colin. He's a buddy of mine. He doesn't work for them anymore, but he was filming, and he said, "Hey, Congressman," he said, "you want to make a comment on the UFO thing?" He couldn't get anybody to comment. And I said, "Well, sure." I said, they're going to tell you they're going to issue you a report, and it's going to be loaded, and everybody's freaking out. It's going to be the greatest thing. It's going to be total disclosure. And then they're going to put something out. It'll look like somebody shot it with a dadgum 12 gauge. It's just going to have holes in it. It's all redacted. And I said, and they're not going to put it out this week. It'll be weeks later. And that's exactly what they did. They had a report I felt like had some information in that was new to the public, and they did what they always do. They hid it, covered it up, and then everybody saw that interview. And I said on it, that's
the one we were talking about, bases in the ocean?
No. That's a different one. As it is, it's totally different. This is just out on the street corner. And then I started getting calls from people literally all over the world. I mean, I've talked to legislators in Russia over this issue, and then people stop me on street corners and say, "Hey, man, I really appreciate you going for disclosure." I have doctors tell me this. I have lawyers, engineers. I have military people that have seen things that they can't describe. I've had members of Congress. There's a few bullies in Congress. They'll make fun of me and say smart aleck stuff, but put it out there to your people. It's over 55% of the American population feels like we're not alone. I mean, seriously, you go out there and look at those. Every night, my dogs, they got to take a leak. They never want to take a leak at like 9 o'clock. It's always 3 o'clock in the morning. I look at those dadgum stars, man, and the light from those stars left there before the time of Christ. And the light from some of those stars, the stars have already combusted. I mean, they're not even there anymore. Light years to us is something that's hard to understand. And we are just, one grain of sand on a billion beaches. And I still don't think we're the best that God can do. I mean, I just can't imagine we're his shining, we're the one they put on the mantle. Oh, look, he made humans. Well, we've kind of screwed things up. So and I read my Bible, and a lot of the Christian folks knock me. They talk about it's demons, and I say, well, I'm good with Jesus. I'm not worrying about demons. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't think they're demons. Why would they? They don't have to fly around in some craft to
Right.
It's just, to me, it's hard to imagine. But the underwater thing was, I was getting briefed by it was a former admiral came into my office, and Joe, it was a very friendly conversation, and I'm always a little couched because or I hold back a little bit because I think there's a psyop going on with some of these departments. I was briefed by one of our alphabet agencies not long ago, and the final thing was somebody said, well, why don't we got more information? He says, we just don't have the funding for that, Congressman. And, it's and I know they're reading the polling data, and they're saying, well, let's shake loose the money tree for us, and that's part of it too. And I warn people about that. But I guess in a nutshell, that's pretty much it.
So when you first got in, how long have you been in government for?
Well, 8 years in Congress. I was in our state legislature in Tennessee 16 years, and then I was county mayor for 8 years.
So was it when you got into Congress that you first started getting inside information about what's going on?
Yeah.
So that was that 8 years ago, or like when was that?
Probably 6 years ago, 5 or 6. No, let's see. It was during Trump's first administration, so it would have been about 8 years ago.
And do you remember what it was? Do you remember how you were introduced to it?
Yeah. We just raised total hell about it, and then
why?
Because it's a cover-up. Nobody would give us information.
Well, what made you think it was a cover-up? Why did you think that there was information?
I guess I just don't trust the government. I've been in government most of my life, and I just don't trust it. I
understand that, but like, was there something that led you to want to pursue this particular subject?
No, just it kind of pursued me. After I did that TMZ interview, people started calling me, and then people would I would get phone calls from people.
Right, but the TMZ interview was fairly recently, right?
No.
No, it wasn't?
That was one that was what started it all. It was 7 or 8 years ago. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't explain that very well.
But you had an interest from the time you were a child, and
right.
Then getting into government. What was like the first introduction where you had an idea that there's something going on?
When I started asking questions, and we just get to run around.
Like what kind of questions?
Like, what is this? Where are you seeing these things? And we would get people. I had an interesting meeting in my office with some people that were nationally known, and they came by to see me, and they just wanted to talk to me about it. And I was, and they started telling me things, and then I had a group come to my house. I said, y'all just come by the office in D.C. and we'll talk. And they said, we don't feel comfortable doing that. And they came by the house, and they said, can we hook up to your television? And I said, well, sure. And they hooked up the computer to it, and they were showing me objects that were flying at. And granted, I'm not an astrophysicist by any stretch of imagination, but they were showing me things that were flying at speeds that were just that nothing compares. And the angles that they were taking would literally, and I've said this before, and it grosses people out, but it would turn you or me into a ketchup package. I mean, you go this way, and then boom, you're going this way, and we have no capability of any of it. And now I've been briefed so many times on different groups. We scrub missions because these things are out there. And then we tell everybody that's involved to keep your mouth shut. And then if you're a pilot and you come back and say, hey, I've seen this, you immediately pulled off the flight line. I'm not a pilot or military person, but flight line is what I call it. They're not able to fly, and they're given a psych evaluation. And they're given an 8-hour, they call it a debriefing. I've been told by some of the officers that have been involved, it's really just an interrogation. And then you got that hanging on your record. And,
so it influences them to stop asking
they just
questions.
Keep their mouth shut. I literally had a guy tell me, Joe, that he said his recorder, it was an older style plane, and I think he said it was close to his right knee. And when he got that on his recorder, he started smashing it with his right knee to discombobulate it so that it wasn't even, because he didn't want anything. He did not need it. He saw it. He didn't need it on his record. Even if he saw it and it was on a dadgum tape, they drag you in. And so, myself, Luna, and Matt Gaetz went down to Florida to be briefed by. Matt was told that some pilots had seen some things and they had some photographs, and so we go down there and again we go in. I told Matt, I said, Matt, they don't give up this stuff easy. We're going to go down there, and I have a bad feeling they're going to turn us out. Well, we went down there, and Joe, they briefed us on some very, very serious issues that they were dealing with the Chinese and and communist infiltration and things going on around Florida in the ocean, but they did never have they wouldn't bring the pilots in. And Matt said, "Hey, I understand all this, but this is not why we came down here." And Matt's you can say what you want to about Matt Gaetz, but he's a great orator and he's a great attorney, and he just started flailing on them. And he told them, he said, "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to jerk me around." And I said, "I'm going to subpoena you all. We're going to call you all back to Washington." And I remember looking over in the corner at the suits, and I said, I called them spooks because they were obviously some sort of military intelligence or CIA. And I leaned over to Matt and I said, "The spooks are getting nervous, brother," because they were kind of shifting around. And they shut us down. They said, "No, we're not going to do it." And Matt said, "I'm calling whoever Big Air Force was." Matt was on one of the military committees, and he called. And hour later, they stuck us up in this room and had microphones under the desk. I remember Luna reached under and unplugged them. And they had a nice fruit tray that you paid for it, taxpayers. Thank you very much. So I went and ate like a jackass eating sawbriars. I was just eating. I didn't care. And so finally, he came back in an hour, and the guy says, "I don't know who you all called, but you're going to get your briefing. They're bringing the pilots in." And literally, they brought these pilots in, and they were in their flight gear, and they had just come out of the planes, and they were the ones, and they described things, and it's been reported now. It's been reported in public, but it was these craft that were hovering for extended periods of times and could shoot straight up at incredible speeds that we don't have capabilities of doing. And those are the kind of thing. And too, this was military people. These were top people. These are like the equivalent, not, they just some of our top people. And I know folks are going to say, "Well, it's probably the Russians." Well, if it's the Russians, dadgummit, they wouldn't be tied up down in Ukraine for how many years? And Putin's such an egomaniac, he'd fly a saucer to Pennsylvania Avenue, get out and probably wrestle Trump in the front yard or something, bare-chested, ride a unicorn or something, I don't know. If it's China, they'd own us, even more than they already do. And then people say, "Well, it's ours, Birch. It's just ours. They don't want to release it." Well, think about this. President Trump, and he should have, and I give him great credit for that pilot that got knocked down over in Iran, we spent untold millions of dollars to bring that cat home, and we should have, because it sends a message to our enemies, and it sends a message to our fighting men and women that we're not going to leave you behind, as many presidents have done many times. There's no way on God's green earth that they would risk a $500 million aircraft with something flying around it and risk those guys' life and all that training to put these guys in harm's way. And that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, these things are buzzing cockpits. I mean, it's not an everyday occurrence. It's in certain areas, and that's where the deep water thing comes in, the deep water bases. I was sort of misquoted. I was just telling what I was told, and but it makes a lot of sense that these deep water areas are where we see a lot of sightings, and we've seen craft underwater that do something over 200 miles an hour that are on the sonar pickup are as big as a dadgum football field. And the best we don't have anything big as a football field, maybe in length, but not underwater anyway. And the best we can do is maybe upper 30 mile an hour, maybe something like that. I don't know, but 200 miles an hour, that's just out of the question. And these things don't have a heat signature, and I hope though that they release some of the footage that we've seen and some that we haven't, that we've been rumored that's out there. What I'm afraid though, it's going to get so sanitized and it's going to get cleaned up. I mean, even Obama, he said, "Yeah, there are aliens out there." And then in a recent interview I saw just last week or so, he's backed up on that. "Oh, I was just kidding. I was just kidding."
Yeah. And I saw Trump when he was getting interviewed. He said Obama shouldn't have said that because it's classified. He goes, "But I might release it. I might make it unclassified."
And I hope he does. And I told him that. I talked to the president about it, and I said, "Mr. President, it's like layers of an onion. You just keep peeling it back." And I hope he does, because
he might be the only one that would ever
only
do
one
it.
with enough guts.
Yeah.
Only one, because he's not beholden to that bunch. All they've done is try to bury him.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So when these men came to you and they hooked up the computer to your television and showed you, did they tell you why they wanted you to see this stuff?
They just thought I should know about it because I was asking the right questions. And then shortly after that, I was go ahead.
I'm sorry. Were you told that you were not supposed to tell people about this? Were you?
No, but it's interesting. I had that deep throat moment. Not the porn version,
right.
the Richard Nixon moment. Where I was walking in the tunnel one day, and a person came up to me, and it's always a friend. It's always a friend that does this, and said, it was just the strangest conversation, and I'll never forget it because he said, Burchett, he said, you're really pushing on this UFO thing. And I go, yeah, I am. He said, do you really think we need to do this? And I just kept listening. When I was a young man, I'd have run my mouth and said, oh, shut up. But I listened to what he said. He said, I mean, this could upset the religious community and all this other. I mean, some of this stuff just left unknown, And I said, no, it's not. The government has no right to decide what I can and cannot understand or handle or see.
And they saw this thing. There was something under the water below it. It's like whatever he saw. What do you think of when people start theorizing about some sort of a breakaway civilization that lives under the ocean?
Yeah, so we actually published a paper about that last June, about the crypto-terrestrial hypothesis. You mentioned it on your show in a really funny way, because it went viral internationally. It was absolutely insane, the impact this thing had. I had to go on Fox and Friends one morning to talk about it, and then the next day I did.
What made it go viral? What was the?
Well, because I published it with two guys from Harvard. I was a co-author on the paper, and so it's clickbait. It's Harvard researchers say dinosaurs are aliens and they live among you. So stuff like that, and it worked because yeah.
Well, it makes you go, what?
Yours was the funniest one. You guys pulled it up on your screen, and you're like, man, these Harvard researchers must have snuck in where they're doing the psilocybin experiments and ate all the mushrooms. That cracked me up. And I don't think we did. I don't remember if we did. I don't think we did. But it definitely had elements of like these guys ate a lot of mushrooms, which was part of why it went viral. But there were some really solid arguments in there. And the title of the paper was Scientific Openness to the Crypto-terrestrial Idea. That's all we were advocating for. And we listed 4 main ways in which this crypto-terrestrial idea could happen. And the 4th one is what really got clickbaity, because we were like, maybe there was a breakaway civilization, that's the crypto-terrestrial idea, but maybe an advanced reptile, dinosaurs didn't go extinct. And this was, we don't think this actually happened, but we're just putting out arguments for what this idea could be. And so, yeah, they took that and put like dinosaurs at keyboards and stuff like that. But one of them is time travelers. And it would make sense if you were in the future, instead of jumping back through time in order to study people in a specific time, you set up a base on the far side of the moon, where up until the 60s, 70s, we wouldn't know they were there. Set up a base under the oceans. And this would go for the extraterrestrial idea too. Instead of traversing the vast swaths of space,
right.
Come here, set up under the oceans where we're not going to find you,
right.
Antarctica. Far side of the moon. And then you can do everything here locally instead of having to jump across space, extraterrestrial, or jump across time, extraterrestrial.
Well, it also explains some of the very strange ways that they've observed crafts moving under the water.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've observed crafts moving under the water at 500 knots that are as big as a football field. And apparently there's video of these things. Apparently there's... the Navy has something that they filmed that is as big as a football field that was going essentially 500 miles an hour underwater without any ripples, not disturbing the water at all, not creating a wake.
And then moving right out of them, the transmedium capacity.
Yeah. Well, when you think about how little exploration we've done to the bottom of the ocean, we know more about the moon than we do about the surface of the actual bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be a great place to hide out. And again, the ability to move in and out of air, water, space, upper atmosphere with no disturbances, the transmedium capabilities, that whole warped space-time bubble around them would help explain that too, that they're not experiencing the water. They're not experiencing the air as they move between them. Like, I always think about, I really love skiing. And one of my favorite times to ski is late season. You know, it's April, the sun's out, everybody's in T-shirts or bikinis or whatever. I don't wear bikinis, but people do. And you get into that slushy stuff. You're cruising down the mountain, you hit the slush, and you just go ass over kettle, you know, over the top of your skis. And that's what, you know, we would expect if they're moving in and out of air and water and space, is that there would be some resistance. There's not. You know, they don't have that. And it does indicate that there is some sort of manipulation of space and time around them. And yeah, moving underwater, these football field-sized craft going that fast. I mean, how can you do that if there is actual resistance from the water?
Well, it just makes you wonder, how much does the government know? You know, you've seen that guy, Tim Burchett, talk about it.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, it was very funny. I mean, he was just casually mentioning that there's 5 different locations in the ocean of the world, in the seas of the world, where they've observed crafts coming out of. That's a very weird thing to just say while you're walking. Just casually talk about it.
And with such confidence, yeah. I mean, they're doing these skiffs. They're talking to people behind closed doors. They don't have the same requirement to not disclose things as those people do. You know, they didn't sign NDAs. And he has a hilarious way of talking about it. He's got the best one-liners of anybody discussing this stuff. I mean, somebody knows. Somebody knows a lot of things. A lot of people probably know a lot of things and have for a very long time. But, you know, what is that relationship? What do they control? Why are we not allowed to know?
Well, this is the real question. Like, what do they actually know about what's going on in the ocean? Like, if there are bases somewhere down in the ocean, there's that weird one, the Baltic Sea anomaly.
I don't know that.
You know what that one? Jesse Michaels just did a show about it where he interviewed the guy who found it. I think they're treasure divers, and they found this very strange thing that is sitting on the floor of the ocean, and it has right angles to it, and it's kind of curved. There's an actual, I don't know what kind of an image is of it, but they have explored this thing, and he's convinced that it's not a natural formation.
Yeah, interesting.
See if you can find something on the Baltic Sea. Put that into our sponsor.
So is there
Perplexity.
an indication it's like
that's
like
what
a base?
Look,
or
it looks like
something?
a fucking Millennium Falcon. What's wrong with my mouth today? I can't say Millennium Falcon. Like, that's what it looks like.
That's interesting.
So, you know, look, this could be something that's sitting on, or it could be something that was built at a time where this was not covered by ocean.
Yeah.
Like, you live in Montana. Montana used to be the great inland sea, right?
Yeah.
You could find seashells in Montana, which is really weird.
Yeah, and even all along the coast of Alaska, like there's about 110-foot rise in sea level over the last 12,000 years.
So what? Like, some more images of this thing. Like, what is that thing?
Yeah, and
like,
but
these are all
question
artistic
then,
renditions.
Yeah,
some of them are. But the other one, that blue one that you see there, that's the real thing. That's
Okay.
what it actually looks like.
Yeah, it's pretty anomalous.
Right. Like, what is that though? Is
Right.
that an ancient structure that people built, 20,000 years ago? Like, what is it? Baltic Sea anomaly is a sonar-detected seafloor formation in the northern Baltic Sea found in 2011 by Swedish OceanX, formerly Ocean Explorer team, during a treasure hunting expedition. Most geologists who have examined the available data consider it a natural rock formation shaped by glacial processes, despite ongoing popular speculation about UFOs or artificial origin.
Yeah. It's tough, man.
There's that thing off the coast of Malibu, too. Is it Malibu or is it Catalina Island? What's that one thing where it was in Google Earth and then they blurred it out after a while?
I think that's just a Google Earth thing. Maybe. Maybe not, but...
But it was on Google Earth and then now it's blurred.
I read where they're getting the data from Google Earth, like what is that data, Not to take a picture.
So it was like bad data?
Yeah, I think so.
And then it cleared up?
I think so.
Okay.
Also, that's a good answer.
That's a good answer for the government.
I did a talk in Manhattan last year, and Tim Gallaudet was one of the speakers, and he was showing images of, I think, what you're talking about, where there was like this sort of almost like a cliff underwater, and then had some strange things around it, like it had been modified, or I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was just off of Catalina Island.
That's right. Yeah, it was very weird looking, and a lot of people were speculating. And one of the reasons why it's very weird, there's a lot of sightings off of Catalina Island. There's a lot of sightings out there.
Yeah, and it, again, it makes sense if they were trying to covertly study us, regardless of their origins, ultra-terrestrial, extraterrestrial, whatever. Use the oceans.
Perfect. Perfect base. Nuts.
But that's alien, dude. It's alien weaponry.
You might be onto something.
They're coming from under the sea.
Here's the
and
thought.
They're giving us weapons. I'm all about USOs now, dude.
Yeah.
I'm all
undersea UFOs.
It's unidentified submersible objects.
Yeah.
That's where they are, dude.
Yeah.
They're at the floor
That's
of
what
this.
Cat Williams said. Yeah. We were talking about sonar hearing
That just
devices.
touched my heart where I'm like, do we both have the same crazy theory?
He said, is this correct or incorrect?
Dude, I love that.
We were talking about space, about how we know more about space than we do about the ocean, which is true. And he was saying that those underwater listening devices were most likely so that they could hear UFOs moving around.
Dude.
Because if imagine if there really are bases under the ocean and they know about them.
Well, here's the thing that if they know about them, fuck you, you should tell us. But here's what I think.
Tell us.
The theory I had, because I heard about, I listened to an episode of Last Podcast on the Left where they were talking about USOs, and I got super into it because I was high enough. When the song hits correctly, sometimes the podcast will do that. And I was listening to Last Podcast on the Left, and it hit where I go like, it unlocked because they had this theory that they talked about that the millions of years it took us to crawl out of the water and evolve into fucking whatever we are, like monkeys and then Neanderthals and then humans, all that millions of years, there were things under the ocean evolving for millions of years with technology and stuff, and we're just up on the roof.
But yeah, the problem is we've never seen anything other than us that manipulates its environment. The intelligent things that we found in the ocean that are real are dolphins and orcas.
Yeah.
And whales. But
and what about
dolphins and orcas are crazy intelligent.
But like octopuses too,
yes,
right?
That's true too.
Yeah.
But none of them, octopuses are very smart, but none of them have ever figured out how to make things. Like make houses and cars and ships, and it's all like they're out in the wild. There's no houses. I used to do a bit about how dangerous the ocean is because there's no doors. I'm like, there's no doors. No matter what, it's just
there's
fucking
caves.
Sharks and crabs and no doors.
Yeah.
And everywhere you look, everything is eating everything.
Yeah.
It's literal murder soup because they all eat each other.
It's a ladder of eating.
Yeah.
Just everything goes up and eats something.
And at the top, you have killer whales that are eating whales. They eat everything.
But what if we're missing something? What if we don't see it? What if we are too stupid? What if we're just like rock monkeys and they're just like, they can't see down here. These guys have no fucking clue. You know when you're in a tinted car and someone's like looking in the window and you're looking at him like, look at this fucking idiot. He doesn't even see me. What if that's us with the aliens in the water? What if we're like looking down there in the water and they're like, these fucking idiots. Even when they come down here, they can't see shit.
That's possible. It's possible that they also can be completely invisible. We're really close to being able to do that now with stuff. They figured out how to like project what's behind things on screens. So you can like theoretically have a vehicle that as it's moving through an environment, it's projecting what's there.
That's a Predator shit.
Yeah, like literally, that's a concept that they're working on. They're working on it for aircrafts. They're working on it for vehicles.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's so terrifying.
And that's just step one. Step two would be do something that alters reality around the thing so it's invisible.
Yeah. So that's what. So you go into the ocean, and we're like down there, and we're so limited because we can't breathe down there. So we're limited. We're in like submarines, or we have robots, and it's just like a fucking ring. Every footage under the sea looks like a Ring doorbell, where it's just like, and we don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
They could be behind it, like these idiots.
There's so little of it that we've explored. There's only like 10% of the ocean floor that we've explored.
10%.
That's so crazy.
10%. And then the thing that they always see UFOs or USOs over water, it's like the high frequency that they see them, and then they just fucking just down in there, and they're like, follow me, bitch. And we're like, we can't breathe. Space or the ocean, we can't breathe down there. We have a limited amount of room we can move around in.
Just the idea of something being here the whole time is so creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. And them, but us being, what's comforting is we're all so stupid we don't see it.
Right.
Imagine if you had a friend that's like, hey, like if a couple people could see it, you would be terrified.
Imagine if society had gotten to a point, at one point in time, where artificial intelligence and human brains mixed, and we created a super class of species, like a new thing that's both technological and biological.
Yeah.
And only a small number of beings got that.
I mean,
and those beings, for some reason, left us here the way we are.
Yeah,
that's what we're seeing with these aliens. Those are humans that went down the road that we're going down right now.
And they were like, dude, we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah, and then maybe there was like all the disasters that happened, like the Younger Dryas impact, the asteroids hit, and all that stuff, and level society. But they escape because they're interdimensional travelers.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. It's like leaving a house. You're just like, I don't care about this house anymore.
Now we're somewhere else. They don't need food anymore. They probably work on nuclear energy or something. There's probably some crazy power source.
Or like antimatter.
Yeah,
it's like a thing that we would never even think of.
Yeah, they don't need to breed.
The thing that the Jimmy Carter brief, did you know about this when where they briefed him and it like broke him emotionally? Yes. Where he was like so upset where they were like, hey, by the way, they've been here forever. Like he was like a deeply religious man.
Well, Tucker Carlson's talked about this recently.
Really?
Yeah, Tucker Carlson said that he believes that they've always been here, and he believes that it's probably he was talking about like good and evil, and that we know that good exists and we know that evil exists.
Sure,
we know that people are capable of doing evil. Like these are real forces in the world.
Yeah,
and what people are saying is that these experiences that some people are having with like benevolent ones, that this is the stories of demons. This is the stories of the Bible. That there's races that are evil. There's alien races that don't give a fuck, just like there's praying mantises that eat hummingbirds.
Or like in nature.
Just because they're super smart.
There are creatures that are aggressive, that are smart, like a hyena, and then there's like animals that are aggressive and just powerful, like lions. Like,
and think about us, the smartest animal on the planet that we know of, and what do we do to chickens?
Fuck them. No.
Bro, those chickens.
I go, no, you don't fuck. Oh, God damn. This is where my whole world unravels. I go, Joe, I fuck chickens, dude. I don't know. I didn't think you were going to get me like that.
Are you, Jeremy, I'm sure you're aware of this, the footage from the Mexican Air Force?
Yeah, very aware of that.
What do you think about that?
Well, again, it's IR footage, which is really interesting. They actually got the cameras for drug runners, right? So you can see in the infrared, so it's beyond the observable, eye. I myself have not detailed looked at the footage. However, FLIR experts and people that work with NSA have looked at it for me, and these are not lights in the distance. These are craft, very similar to what Commander Fravor talks about, without plumes, without heat signatures, non-traditional field propulsion systems. We don't have that.
And I thought they tried to, is this it right here? Is this the Mexican Air Force footage?
Yeah. So they tried to say these were lights on like an oil rig out in the water. That's been debunked.
Yeah, they tried to say it was a fire in an oil rig, right?
No.
The 2004 Comcast Video of the Year was the Mexican Air Force tracking like 6. So literally right after our incident, we come back, and I think we were getting ready to go to Fallon, and I had Comcast, and the home page comes up, and there's this video, and I go, holy cow, that looks like what we chased. And it was like 6 of these things, and they were tracking them in the same area too, right off the coast of Ensenada.
And it's not as rare. There's now admitted an increased frequency. A Pentagon spokeswoman finally went off script. I was tracking the scripts for the last 2 years of what Pentagon spokespeople say about Commander Favor's experience. Someone went off script last week in the New York Times, and she admitted there's an increased frequency of near misses because of these AAVs, anomalous aerospace vehicles. So it's pretty astounding. We're getting all these kind of revelatory moments in these little seeds that these are not ours. We don't have this. Even Elon doesn't have this. I mean, this is a propulsion system unlike anything we have. It's amazing. It's gravity propelled.
Now, that gimbal footage, when it said that there's a fleet of them, how far away are those guys where you don't see the individual objects, you only see a singular spot?
Well, the pod is, when you get pretty narrow, it'd be like, if I put 3 people around you, I can look at you and not see the other people. So that's what the pod is doing. But the radar is seeing everything because it has an AESA radar in it, which is an active electronically scanned array. So instead of like the radars we had, which did the mechanical, doing this like old school, this thing is just a panel that sits in the front of the airplane, and through beam sharing or beam shaping, it can move and it can look all over. So we used to have what was called track while scan, so we would be able to track a target while we're still scanning. This thing has scan while it scans while it tracks. So it literally, if it sees you, if the radar sees you, it has basically a weapons quality solution. And it can do that on multiple targets. It's the same way the spy radar, the Aegis system works on the cruisers. It can track multiple targets and have weapons quality on all these different targets while it's still scanning a volume.
So in that image, you're seeing one individual object, but there's other objects?
Yes. The radar is seeing the object that the pod is looking at where they're talking. And when you hear the video, you hear the pilot say, dude, look at the SA page. There's a whole fleet of them. So what they're seeing is the pod is looking at the main. That's the bigger object at the gimbal, the thing that's roll tight on the screen. And there's 5 smaller things in front. So this thing's just sitting there, and then he said they turn around on the radar and start going the other way while the pod's looking at this guy just kind of rotating.
So like a mothership and smaller aircraft.
Could be.
Something along those lines. Is there video of those smaller aircrafts or just the video of the one large one?
The only thing they have is the targeting pod. I would highly doubt, even if they had the video, that they're going to release the radar video because of classification levels.
Are you able to tell the story you told me about what was underwater with your other buddy? Because is that okay?
Yeah. So it's amazing. People come out of the woodwork when they figure out you've had this, because now they don't feel alone. So I was working. I still do it, but I was doing oil and gas at the time on a contract, and one of the guys, the story came out, and he was a Navy helicopter pilot. And he comes in, he goes, dude, hey, can I talk to you, man? I go, what about? He goes, dude, I got to talk to you. And I said, well, what do you want to talk to me about? He says, dude, you know your UFO? He said, yeah. He goes, I had a similar experience. I said, what's that? He said, he was flying CH-53s, which is a big heavy lift that the Marine Corps uses, and the Navy uses it for certain things. And when they go for the East Coast, they do a lot of shooting at the time, it was off of Puerto Rico. We had Roosevelt Roads that they ended up closing. But he was flying out of there. And, you got super clear Caribbean water. And they have these things that are called BQMs. They fly around, and then when they're all done, because they'll fly towards the ships, and the ship they can track with the radar. And then they also do when the ships or submarines shoot torpedoes, they're called telemetry rounds. So they gather all the data on what the torpedo is doing underwater, and then they blow ballast, and this thing will come to the surface and float, and then they go pick them up, and then they can extract all the data out of them. So they do it for both. So he said the first time they're out and they're going to pick up this BQM. And those things, when they're flying, they're done, a parachute comes out, and they hook it up. The helo drops the swimmer in the water. He goes and hooks this whole thing up, and then they hoist the whole thing up and fly back, and then they extract the data. So he says he's sitting in the front. In helicopters, there's, a CH-53, you can actually see down by your feet, just like typical, like you got a Hawaiian ride, because you can see when you're touching down. So you got really good visibility out of those things, and you can stick your head out the window, too, because you're just kind of hanging out. He says he's going on there, and they're getting this thing hooked up, and as he's looking down, because they're, 50 feet above the water, he sees kind of this dark mass coming up from the depths. And they start to hoist the diver up, and they've got the BQM, and as they hoist it up, he says, and he's looking at this thing going, what the hell is that? And then it just goes back down underwater. It just once they pull the kid and the BQM out of the water, this object descends back into the depths. So he thinks, well, that was pretty weird. So he goes out, he says, not too long later, a few months later, he's out and he's picking up a torpedo. So he says they hooked the diver up on the winch, and they're lowering him in, and as he's looking down, he sees this big, massive, he goes, it's not a submarine. He's seen submarines before. Once you see a submarine, you can't confuse it with something else. This big object, kind of circular, he says, is coming up from the depths, and he starts screaming through the intercom system to tell him to pull the diver up, and the diver's like a few feet from the water. So they reverse the winch, and the diver's thinking, what the hell's going on? And he's getting pulled up, and all of a sudden, he said the torpedo just got sucked down underwater, and the object just descended back down into the depths, and they never recovered the torpedo.
Jesus.
And this happened in the late 90s. Mid to late 90s, I think it is. I could probably get in touch with him and ask him. And he told me this story, and I'm like,
how do you report that?
You come in and go, well, where'd the torpedo go? It just got sucked down. It just went down, and then you get the people that attribute it as, something happened when it blew ballast and it just took on water and sank. And he's like, it didn't sink. He goes, it literally looked like it got sucked down. The only reason they talked to him when they did the New York Times stuff, they talked to him, but because the incident was from the 90s, they wanted something, newer. So they did not include it, but I know they talked to him about it.
Now, what was the other footage that we were looking at? There was the first footage that Jamie pulled up that wasn't the gimbal footage. That was
the Go Fast.
The Go Fast. What is that?
That's it actually looks more like a Tic Tac, but they saw it going across the water, and they're just grabbing a lock. So they're seeing this with their eyes, and he gets the FLIR to lock on it, and that's when you hear the kid go, "Oh, I got it," because he gets the auto track, and it's just something screaming across the surface of the water. So,
and this is in the same area?
This is East Coast, yeah. This is the same time frame as the gimbal video.
So the idea that these are birds, or the idea that this is a radar glitch, or somebody said pilot error, like on a clear blue day, Commander Fravor has nerves. I mean, that kind of thing that people have said on your show to you, that, these are explanations that make sense.
Who said that?
I don't want to say their names.
Mick West?
Yeah, sure.
Mick believes everything. Like every single thing that's ever happened has a rational explanation for it.
so the probability that all the radars went off at the wrong time. Commander Fravor had nerves. That all the other pilots up there with him, that this thing shot off like a gun instantly. Like that was somehow perfectly coordinated. That's a conspiracy. That's a fabrication. Probably Occam's razors. The events happened exactly like we're being told.
Yeah, for us it was. And I'll go back to the beginning of the story of, the other pilot who was brand new. She had been in the squadron for 4 months, 5 months. So she's pretty junior. She was still working on her initial qual on the airplane. And, so she gets we get the real world vector, and it's like, okay, real world vector, cool. I'm going to get to do something real, exciting. Then you see the water, and you think, oh, something's sinking, because it's kind of that shape of an airplane, that cross type. So now it's, oh crap, now it's search and rescue. We got to go down and see, because there's people, and we are sympathetic. And to the Tic Tac, and as soon as the Tic Tac, it's like, holy shit, what is that? And when you get, some people get very emotional when you talk about it. Because for me, it was like, for her, when you talk to her, she has a disdain for some of the leadership that didn't tell us that these things were out there. They're here now, we're getting vectored because we were the first time the manned airplanes had been airborne when one of these things showed up. That no one even gave us a brief that, hey, we're seeing these objects out here for the last 2 weeks. They're just kind of, you might want to know they're out there. And they never told us. No one knew these things existed besides the radar operators. And the radar operators didn't know what they were. They just knew they were seeing blips. So and there's a lot of stuff that, that it flew around and it came around me, and it didn't do any of that stuff. It's... The story that I gave you is just relatively benign, but it was, it's an interesting experience.
So these incidents that they reported were taking place before you saw that Tic Tac encounter.
Yeah,
they were taking place over a period of how many weeks?
2 weeks. We went out at the beginning of the month for this 2 week at sea period. We pulled in for Thanksgiving, but other than that, we were out till I think December 21st is when we pulled the ship back in. Besides pulling in for the 3 days at Thanksgiving. So, yeah, for the 2 weeks prior, so this was on the 14th, and we went out at the beginning of the month. So about 2 weeks, they had been watching these things come down, go up, come down, go up. But it was always when we were not flying, which is really probably like the midnight time frame until early in the morning the next, till noon the next day. And then we just happened to go. And if you think about it, I laugh at, if there was some little green man flying around in that Tic Tac, he probably got back to the mothership and got yelled at for being seen. But you're like, oh my God, you let them see you. So
there was a unidentified flying object that was picked up on the base.
Old school UFO.
Oh yes, sir.
Not
Old school. It was a UFO. It was picked up on the base, and it was recorded by sensory data, and it was picked up on camera. It had camera footage of it from different locations.
What did it look like?
It looked like it was weird shaped. It was like an unusual shape, and there's people talking about it. It's in the movie. And
the film is in the movie?
The film footage that leaked from the base is in the movie.
So you can see what it looks like flying around?
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of blurry in some spots, and yeah, you'll see it. So
it's in the program.
It's in the program, yeah. And then you hear all the voices. I actually had the voices cleaned up. You can hear people talking about, what the hell is it?
Is there a clip we could see online? Just so I could show people what it looks like?
Damn, I'm sorry.
Could you maybe just say the actual name of the incident? Maybe Jamie could find it?
Yeah, try and find it. It's Nellis Test Range UFO 1994. See if you can find it.
People put stuff up
It's
so
long
quick.
and it's really bad. Yeah, true. Good point.
Because it's on Amazon right now. People put clips up so fast.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and there's other things on there. So in any case, so that video.
Bam. There it is.
That's terrible. There's much better footage of it. Yeah, there's much better footage of it. It's in my movie. I had it cleaned up. But yeah, that's it, basically.
Can I see it again? So that's what it looked like?
The footage I have is way better than this. Yeah, that sometimes it's... So
what did it look... Jesus Christ. You know what that looks like, Jamie?
A very weird shape.
Jamie, you know what that looks like? That looks like Terrence Howard's creation. Doesn't it?
It's weird.
What does he call that again?
But it was...
Those things that lock together? Those... You know, the flying drone thing that he created?
Linchpins?
Linchpins.
Yeah.
Terrence Howard created this fascinating concept for like a drone, where it's like propellers going all these different directions, and they sync up and they link together, and it looks like that.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, so it's footage, people talking about it. What is it? We don't know. It's unidentified, and it flies around the base, and that leaked. And the names of the witnesses leaked. 3 days later...
Can you explain, sorry to keep cutting you off, but can you just say what it did, like how it moved?
It was like, didn't have any visible means of propulsion. It didn't have any wings. It didn't have propellers. It just looked like an object, a round sort of object, weird shape, almost like a helmet or something with things coming off of it. And it was just moving around the base. And
fast?
Nobody, slowly at times.
Oh,
there
is
it
the
is.
Footage?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. That's exactly it. Yep.
It's definitely not a big balloon.
And you hear everybody talking about it. The audio that goes along with it, and I had it cleaned up, is they're all talking like nobody knows what it is. And
so this is Zoom. Is this why it's moved around like that? They're trying to keep it in focus and they're zooming on it?
It's all, Mr. Sands explains all of that in the film, the program. He talks about it. So anyway, so this leaks. People's names, the witnesses leaks. And 3 days later, he's in a convoy. Gesundheit. He's in a convoy, and it's early in the morning, and there's 3 jeeps, in convoy on a dirt road heading out Nellis Test Range. And they see what looks like maybe somebody was involved in a plane crash, somebody that was struggling out in the middle of the desert. It was early in the morning, it was wintertime, and they're looking at this individual, and like, oh my God, is that a person? That individual needs some help. That individual looks like they need some help. They look cold. Their skin had a slight blue tint to it. And they're looking at this gentleman, and they're like, hey, stop the convoy. This person needs help, medical attention. Maybe they had a plane crash, and so we're going to help this person out. And they pull the convoy over, and this individual comes up to the car. Jason Sands gets out the right side of the door, and as he's getting out, somebody in the truck screams, he's got no effing ears. And Jason says he turns around and he looks at this guy, and he had the same kind of uniform that they had on, but the uniform was just immaculate. Like there wasn't any dust on it, no dust on the boots. And he was thinking to himself, well, that's weird. This guy's got no ears. Is this guy some kind of mutant? And he looks at him and he said his eyes were a lot bigger. It's all illustrated in the movie. And then he starts talking like, he said it was like a snake bite him, and he was just paralyzed with fear. It was really scary. What am I looking at? Is this a human? Is this a mutant? Is this an alien? What is this? And he starts talking to him in gibberish. But he said he started to understand, like telepathically, everything this person or entity, being, creature, alien, whatever you want to call it, was saying to him, and he was looking for some kind of metal. And he didn't know tantalum, and Jason Sands like, I don't know, I don't have any. You mean titanium? And he's like, no, tantalum or something. And this conversation goes on for a bit, and then the guy just wanders back off and gets into that little craft that looked very similar to what you just saw there, and flies away. And he sort of stair-stepped away, and everybody sort of came out of this comatose state, and off they went. And we have the names of the other military witnesses that were on duty during the encounter, the alleged encounter. People are going to criticize me because I'm reporting on a close encounter of the third kind. But this, Jason Sands says he's willing to do a lie detector test, like public. He's willing to testify under oath that everything he's saying is true. We have a date, we have a location, and we have the names of the other on-duty officers. So what I'm hoping is, despite the level of criticism I'm going to receive for reporting on this, is that other individuals that have more information on this are going to be inclined to come forward. I also met with people in the Senate Armed Service Committee, Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, in the House, and they said Jason Sands is who he says he is. He checks out. He's named previously classified programs. He's identified. The guy's legit. His credentials check out, and so I opted to go ahead and report on it with the hope that more information will come out on it.
Listen, man, there's nothing wrong with reporting on a story like that. There's been a bunch of them. It's not a small number of these things where people have experienced these things. Yeah. And imagine if it's true.
If it's true,
they're not all liars. I can't believe they're all liars.
It's hard to imagine.
Imagine being that person who had that experience and not have anybody believe you. Not only that, but it can actually ruin your reputation and your career to talk about this experience, which is the reality of it. And it's one of the things that stifled discourse on this until I think the New York Times really broke the ice. I think in 2017 when they published that, all of a sudden serious people who were unwilling to talk about UFOs before just for the ridicule.
Yeah.
Now you've got the gimbal video, the Go Fast video, you've got fighter pilots, Commander David Fravor, you've got these people discussing these things openly and like, okay, this seems like something that a serious person can discuss now. And so then it's open. But actually meeting one and talking to, it's like the Varginha story. Like when I told people the cop picked it up and carried it in the car and the cop died
manhandled it.
Some horrible bacterial infection that they couldn't cure.
He was rubbing himself down with rubbing alcohol, according to his family. Like he was like, this is greasy stuff on my skin. And he was rubbing himself down and he had the stench, smell, grease.
Yeah.
And then I interviewed the doctors. There's a couple of, actually going back to Brazil next month. There are a couple of forensic pathologists that are willing to come forward that we're going to cover, kind of update the movie and re-release. So it's an ongoing investigation.
Wouldn't that be the best protection from an alien planet's bacteria if you had the most vicious bacteria on the surface of your skin, right? Like imagine, like if you go to another planet and the way to mitigate the effects of viruses and bacteria on that planet is to have skin fluid that's like unbelievably toxic. Like anything that comes near you just gets cooked.
Yeah, like a skunk.
Right.
Have you ever had a skunk?
Oh, yeah. I had a skunk got my dog once.
I check out this guy's garbage one time, and he's like, hey, it's in my garage. And he flipped up the thing and dropped it in there. So I was like kind of hungover. We had a party the night before, and I went out to the garbage can, and I kind of heard like some rustling in the garbage can, but I didn't really think anything of it. And I like lifted up the thing, and then I heard some rustling again. So I reached over and I put my head down inside, and the skunk just turned and got me right in the face. Now, I held my breath.
My God.
I held my breath, and I closed my eyes at the last second, and it went right through me. It penetrated my molecules. It was so powerful that it was paralyzing. Absolutely paralyzing. Can you imagine just a smell that's their way of defense? It's just the stench that just goes through your body and just paralyzes you.
That's crazy.
Anyway,
you got it in the mug, huh?
I got it right in the face.
Wow. How long did it take before you didn't stink? Because you smell
probably 2 weeks. No,
I was wondering, like, how long would that wait?
It was several weeks. Yeah, and I tried the tomato, and I tried the baking soda, and I
think they have special soap now, just for skunks. But when my dog got zapped, she got zapped in like 1980. I think it was 1980 because I was living in Jamaica Plain, and she went out in the backyard, and I think she thought that it was our cat because we had a cat that was black and white. And she just ran right up to that skunk, and it took her right in the side of her body. Like, she tried to turn away, but it got her all over her body. She was wet with skunk spit.
Oh, God.
It was so nasty. I had to take her inside, and I had to do it because she was my dog. Even though I was 13, I had to, like, cover her with tomato juice and wash her down, and she still stunk. The whole house stunk.
It's so funny because I was getting ready for a road trip this a couple years ago, and I looked over and I was like, did we walk Duke? It was like 9 o'clock at night. We were exhausted. We'd packed everything up. We had the car ready to go for the next morning. And it's like, did we walk Duke? Did you walk Duke? Take Duke, our dog. So I was like, it's 9 o'clock. I'll just let him outside. And I hear him like, no. And then he goes, and I thought, oh my God, he just got eaten. somebody just ate him. I was like, oh my gosh. And I ran out there to look for him, and he comes running in. He jumps in bed covered in skunk. Oh. The whole house, like, it was so strong. It's unbelievable. That smell is just like, and
it's so incredible. And the way someone explained this to me, like animals like bloodhounds and bears, they have an insane sense of smell.
Oh God, like 100,000 times stronger than ours, right?
Right, but they can pick up parts per million the way we pick up skunk.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So think about that. So if a skunk gets hit by a car like a mile away, you can smell it. Have you ever driven in your car? I don't know if it's a mile.
I could drive over it, and then my car smells like it.
Yeah, if you're in the neighborhood where a skunk got something, you could smell it.
Yeah.
For some strange reason, it permeates. It carries more than any other smell. With dogs, that's how they smell everything. They're like, oh, Roscoe's home. Like they can smell things that you can't even imagine they can smell, especially like a bloodhound. And then a bear can smell like, what is a bear's like ability to smell above a bloodhound? It's something crazy. My friend was
sharks in the ocean can sense blood from miles away, right?
Miles.
It's incredible.
Insane. Miles away. They could smell blood miles away.
God, something I remember.
Look at this. 300 times. Look at this. This is crazy.
Wow,
bears are the best sense of smell of any animal on Earth. For example, average dog sense of smell is 100 times better than a human's. A bloodhound's is 300 times better. A bear's sense of smell is 7 times than a bloodhound's, or 2,100 times better than a human's. Unbelievable.
That's why they say when you go camping, put your food up in a tree or something, right?
100%. You have to.
Yeah, you can't have it in the tent at all.
Oh, when I was a kid, we went camping, and the bear broke open our cooler.
Wow.
Yeah, people just had regular coolers back then.
You'd have like a little cookie in your pocket and be in bed and be in your tent.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have an issue.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
I remember when I was a kid, I went camping and they were like, "Don't have any food." I was like, "Yeah, whatever," like that. Like, no, put that stuff. And they were really adamant. I was like, "Why are these guys making such a fuck? The bear's not gonna smell a cookie in my pocket." Like, of course they will.
They'll look at that like a wonton. Like, look at that soft outer layer and there's meat inside of it. They're gonna look at that tent like, look, it's trapped in there.
Oh my gosh.
The meat is trapped in the tent. This is crazy.
What was that one movie called where they got the grizzly man or something? Remember?
Yeah, grizzly man. That's what
and
it's
they came
called.
and got him. Remember they?
Well,
he
it's
thought
a
he
lot
became
more than
one
that.
with the grizzlies, and then he got eaten.
It's a very complicated movie. That's a Werner Herzog film.
Yeah, Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's a really funny
movie. And the camera was rolling, and they played it.
Sort of. The camera was rolling, but the lens cap was on, so there was an audio.
So it's just audio.
Yeah,
that's even worse.
The audio, by the way, folks, the audio you hear on the internet, that's fake.
Oh, it is.
That's not the real one. The real audio, Werner Herzog told the lady to destroy it. Destroy it. No one should hear this.
So he heard it.
Yeah, he heard it. It's long, because bears don't kill you; they eat you. Like a salmon, they don't kill salmon. They just put their paw down and start pulling chunks off of it. That's what they do with people too.
That's terrifying.
Well, they don't have any predators, so they don't have to kill things and then worry about someone taking it from them. You're not taking shit from a bear.
Terrifying,
especially a grizzly bear. You're not taking shit from a bear unless you're a bigger bear. So, like, all the other animals have to worry. Like, mountain lions kill quick because wolves will steal from mountain lions. And apparently, in the areas where wolves have been introduced, it's actually become a problem because mountain lions are killing much more than they normally do. Because mountain lions will kill like a deer or 2 deer a week, something like that.
And eat? They eat 2 deer a week. That's a lot of meat.
Well, they're big. A big mountain lion is 150 pounds.
Wow.
And it's a big cat. Their cats are they're obligate predators. All they eat is meat. Bears will eat a little berries. They'll eat a bunch of shit. Not cats. So the cats are killing more because the wolves scare the cats off of the kill. So if the cat's on a kill and a bunch of wolves show up, the cat will just get the fuck out of there. Like, fuck
Why?
this.
Because he feels he didn't want to defend himself against the wolves?
Exactly, because wolves hunt in packs. So there might be 13, 14 wolves and one cat. The cat will just get the fuck out of there. Cats run from dogs, right? Like, they have a fear of, like, canines, and I think it's from wolves stealing their food. So, like, that's how they hunt cats. The way they hunt them, you have to tree them. Because otherwise, you're not going to find them. If you find a mountain lion...
What do you mean by tree them?
You have to get the dogs to bark them up a tree.
Oh,
so they run up a tree and then they shoot them when they're in a tree. Shit. Yeah. And it sounds cruel. But listen, they have to do that to manage the populations. If they don't, they start eating dogs. That's what you get in San Francisco. California still kills mountain lions. lions. They kill as many mountain lions as they would if they gave tags out to people to kill them, because you have to kill certain numbers of them for depredation, because they'll start killing livestock, they'll start killing dogs. In the Bay Area, the problem cats that they wound up killing in like San Francisco, and up there, half their diet was pets.
Really?
Half their diet. Half their diet was house cats,
people's
dogs,
cats.
Dogs and cats. That's half their diet. Half of their diet. So you manage, 100+ pound cat, and he's running around just eating dogs. You leave your dog in your backyard, gone. Happens all the time.
Wow.
It happened to my dog.
Really?
Yeah, my dog in Colorado got eaten by a mountain lion. It happens. Oh
God, I'd feel so bad for my little guy.
It's terrible.
I'm not there to protect my little feller. One time I was hiking up this mountain, and I had my son with me at the time, and he was in that little pouch, that little pouch that you put him in the front. Like he was probably maybe 2.5. And I was hiking this mountain pretty daily. It's funny actually, because when I went up there without him, I was like, well, this is why people hike with weights on. This feels amazing. I could run up this mountain. But anyway, I was going to the mountain, and I had my dog, my little Duke, and I had my son walking up this mountain, and I come around this, go to the left hand. It's a pretty exposed, not too many trees, some bushes, and it's a hot, sunny day. And I see this leg of a deer, just fresh kill with blood on the ground. I was like, God damn, what the hell looked, wow, that's fresh. I was like, huh. And I kind of keep going and come around the corner, and there's a long straightaway. The hill goes up like this. And I see what looks like a big, greyhound dog, kind of brown, light brown, kind of walking kind of back and forth like this with a tail. And I was like, man, who the hell's greyhound is doing out of here? What the hell that's a mountain lion. I was like, holy shit. And the mountain lion turns around and looked at me, and I had my kid. I was like, so I grabbed my dog, and I turned around and I started running, and I knew that I shouldn't be running. So I'm running going, I shouldn't be running. I know I should be running, but I wanted to get around the corner and get it out of its line of sight. And then I go, well, if he comes up on me, I'm going to have to throw my dog. I was like, I looked at Duke, and I said, if it comes down to it, Duke, you're going to have to take one for the team.
Oh, my God. That's a horrible choice.
It was a horrible choice, but I had my son.
Of course. I get it.
But I remember looking at him,
too.
And I was looking at my dog going, oh, man, this is a horrible decision I have to make. But if it comes down to it, I'm going to have to sacrifice you, buddy. I love you. But it didn't come down to it. But I remember running going, you're an idiot, James. Why are you running? You're not supposed to be running.
You can't run. Well, that's the problem with mountain bikers. They get got because when they pass by a cat, it's almost like rolling a ball of yarn past a kitten.
Oh.
They're predators.
And they'll catch bikes, huh?
Oh, they get people on bikes. Yeah, that's happened a few times. They get people on bikes. They get joggers, people on bikes. They think you're running away from them.
Could you imagine what it was like to be running for your life? Having something like that chase you?
Yeah, I can. I mean, it hasn't happened to me, but I've seen them. I've seen 3 of them in my lifetime. Only one of them that scared the shit out of me. I saw one in Colorado. I saw one in Montecito, the Santa Barbara area. It was small. Those are small ones. They were 50, 60 pounds. And then I saw one with a buddy of mine, my friend Colton and I. We spotted one under a tree that was 30 yards away. We were in a truck, and it made me shit my pants.
Wow,
it was so big. This one was really big. This was a mature male with a big pumpkin head and huge forearms like a fucking bodybuilder. It was freaky. It was freaky to see because, it was, first of all, it was dusk. So the sun was going down, and the lights of the truck, even though it wasn't quite dark yet, the lights of the truck were making his eyes glow.
Oh, my God.
And you could see him with the naked eye, but then I put my binoculars on. And so I've got these 10-power binoculars, and I'm zoomed in on this thing's face. I'm like, holy
Looks like he
shit.
belongs in Africa.
Well, he belonged right where he was, man. We didn't belong there.
Hey, let me tell you a really cool story that's a UFO, the best UFO picture I think is ever taken.
Do you have it? Can I look at it, or are you going to tease me?
No. We're going to look for it. Okay, so can you find the program trailer on here at all? Or?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, find the program trailer. I'm going to tell you about this.
Is this the trailer?
Yeah,
let's just watch the trailer.
All right, let's watch it.
Story exposing a secret government program investigating UFOs.
That story was kind of a catalyst for a lot of things that have happened since. Members of Congress started to ask questions.
Instruments report there is something there.
There are flight characteristics that we can't explain.
UAPs are unexplained. It's true. They need to be investigated.
Here we are having a hearing where just a few years ago, we didn't even acknowledge that these things were real.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
You're telling me people have come forward claiming firsthand knowledge of craft of non-human origin?
That's correct. We have sources who have asserted not only that there have been crashes, but there have been crash retrievals.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they human or non-human?
Non-human.
I'm sitting here today because the American people are being lied to.
We are the American government, and we are open, and we're going to be open about this.
What has been revealed:
non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity.
Is only part of the story.
The pressure's on. The Pentagon, the CIA, they're going to have to answer the mail.
Some are risking everything.
Have you had incidences that have caused you to be in fear for your life?
Yes, personally.
To uncover the rest.
What is being done to verify the assertion that the U.S. government has spaceships of non-human intelligence in their possession?
That kind of revelation unearths people's beliefs.
I would go to jail to say things that I've been exposed to in the program.
Bro, is that Mick Jagger? Was that other guy Mick Jagger?
Isn't he amazing? That's Hal Puthoff.
Hal Puthoff?
Oh,
no,
yeah, I know.
Mick Jagger's
Doesn't look like Mick Jagger?
That's not Mick Jagger?
That's Gary McKinnon. He's the biggest computer hacker in history.
Let me see what he looks like.
He almost went to jail for life because he was like, I'm going to find out what the government knows about UFOs. So he hacked into the systems, NSA, CIA, DIA, like...
where is he?
Yeah, you want to see that really cool picture?
In the film.
Oh yeah, you got to go towards the end. Yeah, he totally looks like Mick Jagger. That's really funny you should say that because
I totally thought it was Mick Jagger.
I saw it and I'm like, wait a minute, that does look like a rock star. He is a rock star in the UFO community. It's coming up. You'll have to pause it quickly when it hits. But Gary McKinnon took it upon himself, a computer hacker, to find out if the government had proof of alien visitation. And he spent a couple years hacking systems, and he got pay dirt. There he is. That was it.
Bro, that's Mick Jagger.
Doesn't it look like Mick? It does look like Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger's in the UFOs. You should just only show that clip, like they do in horror movies where the mask is not that good. It's real quick.
Yeah. But I was going to tell you, there's a photograph of a jet circulating. Can I go into a little bit of detail? Because everyone's always worried about, where's the good evidence? Where's the good photograph?
Right. Show me that photograph again.
Yeah. So it's, there we go.
Now, this was a lost photograph that was recovered, correct?
Yeah. You know about this?
Yeah, I know about this.
Okay, so I heard about this in the late 90s.
Tell everybody about it.
Okay, so there was a guy, Nick Pope, who investigated, he was part of the UFO desk at the Ministry of Defense of England in the late 90s, mid to late 90s. Maybe even as late as early 2000s. But in any case, and I was interviewing him for a number of my films. I did a film called Out of the Blue, I Know What I Saw, before I did The Phenomenon. And I asked him, hey, man, you were a part of the UFO desk at the MOD. What was the best case you ever saw? And he goes, oh, man, 1990. He didn't give me the town. It was Calvine. But he said, Scotland, there were two poachers. They called them hikers, but they were actually poaching.